Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening. And as we have people join us, I'll welcome them along the way. But I just wanted to thank you for coming. And for those of you that are here, if you could let people know that we're putting a recording on our website. It'll be on there tomorrow after Mr. Garifano helps me. Well, he basically does it. And I just send it to him. But this it's helpful. Mrs. Tucker and Mrs. Thomas have put together some information that will help with some summer work that students can do but have fun doing. So let me start with introductions real quick. The first person that I'm going to introduce is Mrs. Rafferty. She is the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. So the CIA, if you think about it. And then we have Mrs. Tucker. She is our math specialist. There she is.
Hello.
Mrs. Thomas is our reading specialist. And then we have Mrs. Bassignani. She is one of our ELA tutors. Did I do that right? I hope I pronounced it correctly. I've been listening to her say it. And then Mrs. Donahue is here. There she is.
Hello.
One of our ELA tutors, and she's going to be our raffle specialist tonight.
I'm working on it.
Pretty fancy, right? You didn't know you had an official title. Okay, so I will go ahead and let Mrs. Tucker and Mrs. Thomas take the lead from here, and they're going to go through the presentation. In the meantime, I will put it up.
So welcome everyone while it's coming up on the screen. If you don't know me, I am the reading specialist for DePietro School, which means I work with students in all grades K to 3. And I help administer the Title I program. And as a reminder, Title I just means that we receive federal grant money to support the additional instruction in reading and math that we're able to provide to students that aren't quite at grade level. And it pays for us to have Mrs. B and Mrs. Donahue as support staff for us in order for more children to receive additional reading instruction. And then it also funds Mrs. Dixon and Mrs. Goldstein for the math program. So that's what the term Title I has to do with. It has to do with our funding. But in general, what it means is that we at DePietro identify kids that aren't at grade level in either reading or math. And then we decide as a team how to provide additional supports for them to help them get to grade level. And typically that is involved with them receiving additional instruction during their school day. So they have extra reading group or extra math group. Sometimes it involves summer programs, which we have depending on the year and what we're able to fund. Sometimes it allows us to provide extra materials or software programs. So just a little refresher on what Title I is about. And tonight we're going to share just some tips and tricks is what the title of the program, just to get your mindset switched from this last year where you were very involved in supporting your students during remote learning, and how are you going to just kind of provide some supports for them over the summer, particularly this summer because we know the year was so challenging. So we're hoping to just give you some thoughts and ideas and remind you of things and maybe give you a few new things that you can try with your child. And the emphasis is on enjoyment and engagement, so that, you know, the summer is not a time where they feel like stressed or, you know, they have all this chores and it's not fun and it's just a, you know, prolonging of the fact that it's hard for them, but instead opportunities for them to see that reading and math can be enjoyable even if it's challenging. And we can find ways to learn in not just the traditional drill and worksheet and workbook type of ways. Okay, so can we show the agenda? So tonight I'm going to, Mrs. Tucker and I are going to go over what the summer program expectations are for students entering grades 1, 2, and 3. If we have, I don't know if anyone came entering 4th, but of course they're going to hear about their expectations I believe through the virtual Step Up program that they're going to have next week. So we're not really going to address kids entering fourth, but if anybody's here, welcome, and a lot of things will apply. We're going to, as I said, just give some suggestions and thoughts and ideas about summer learning and how that can look and be engaging for your child. And lastly, we're going to raffle off some prizes to people that took the time and came out and are here. So we actually, Mrs. Donahue, how many participants do we have? 18 or 15?
15, yeah.
Okay, so why don't we pull a name right now, and the first winner of a educational game,
All
where
right.
we launch into the meat of the presentation.
I'm putting them in my Fenway hat.
Okay.
Second. Mixing it up. All right. Do we have a Jessica? There's a Jessica in the participants
yep.
list.
Oh, great, Jessica. What grade is your child?
He's in first grade. He's going into second.
Okay, would you prefer a reading educational game or a math educational game?
Math would be good.
All right. Okay, so you're the winner, and we'll send it home with your child in the next day or two.
Thank you.
All right. Maybe Mrs. Tucker can show it when she's presenting. Okay, we're ready to move on to the content of the night. Okay, so we're first going to discuss the actual assignment. So Bellingham Public Schools is assigning our students a summer learning activity pack. There's an assignment for reading, which I'll discuss, and then I'll turn it over to Mrs. Tucker to discuss the math assignment. So you on the website, the school website and the district website, it will be posted, and also your child's going to get a hard copy coming home in their backpack as well. And so this is what it'll look like. So you'll see the big sun little clip art on the top, and this is what you're going to be looking for their assignment. Okay, and so what we're looking for them to return after the summer, and we have a due date of September 17th, so if they could get it in by mid-September, we're looking for them to return a bingo board for reading, and then they're going to have a calendar for math. So I will explain that. So in the packet will be a bingo board, and I apologize, it's going to look like this. And some of you that her children have been in the school for a couple of years probably recognize this. We didn't change it too much. We just tweaked it because we thought, some people have not had opportunities to try it. So we wanted people to be able to use it and some people to have a little familiarity with it. So each square on the bingo board is an activity. For example, write someone a postcard about a trip you took, or read under a shady tree, or write some words in the sand. All different little suggestions for ways that they can engage with reading and writing and listening in a non-traditional way, like I was saying, not a worksheet or a drill and kill, or even something online so much. So they have that bingo board that they are to fill out and see as many activities as you can do over the 10 weeks. There'll also be a blank bingo board in there. I don't have the example up to show you, but it's a bingo card with nothing in it. If your child prefers to just fill in their own activity, that's fine too. They could fill in titles of books they read, or if they have other ideas for reading and writing things that they do. For example, I read a recipe for pancakes and I cooked pancakes, or something like that. They can fill that in, or you or another adult can just jot it into the square. So you have the blank if your child prefers a more open-ended way, or you can use the one filled in with the suggestions. So that is what we're looking for to return on by September 17th next year. Within the packet, besides the bingo board, every grade level also has a list of suggested books and titles that children their age and their grade level have enjoyed and have had success with, if you need more specific ideas for books. And a lot of them are going to be very recognizable. Some are new, but definitely the Bellingham Public Library will have access to the books as well. So they're just suggestions on the list, just to give you ideas and new series to check out, or if your child really doesn't have preferences, you could use that as a guide. But the books on the list are just a suggestion. And like I said, if you're really stuck, I really highly recommend that you go into Bellingham Public Library and talk with the librarians, because they'll be very helpful in directing you to books that your children of your child's age will enjoy. So we have the bingo board that we're looking for to return, and then a book list that's just suggestions to get you going, or give you new ideas, or give you some direction for reading suggestions. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Tucker to explain the math assignment.
Hello. So the math is in the same packet as the reading. So it's all going to come in one nice packet for you. So you don't have to go looking for math versus reading. For the math, we have it broken down by sort of skill areas. And then within each area is a little table, and it tells you, depending on where your student is, what kind of things you should be working on. So one example, thank you, Mrs. Thomas. One example is, for example, telling time is right on the front. That's a big skill that a lot of kids need to work on, not just a digital clock, but on an analog clock. And then how many more minutes does it take to get to the end of the hour? So if I'm in, grade 3, I need to be working on what's called elapsed time, which is that how much time has gone by. If I'm in grade 1, I'm really working on telling time to that hour. So there's just some differences there. And so that lets you know like what sort of level to be working on, what kind of questions you might want to ask, or activities you could practice. There's also practicing measurement, cooking, baking, those kinds of things as well are really helpful things you can do at home. Practicing your facts, the general fact fluency, counting forwards and backwards by numbers at home are really helpful. Not just starting from 1, but starting at different numbers within 100 or within 1,000, depending on the age level of your kiddo, is really important. There's lots of things you can do to not just have to be around the house. So we've talked about things like going to the beach. You can be writing numbers in the sand. You can be counting seashells. In my house, sometimes we count the number of grapes that we eat. My 4-year-old, 10 grapes every night. He counts to 10. So it's you can get them, kind of sneak it in lots of different fun ways. If you're going on a car ride, when are you starting? When do you get there? How long did it take? Things like that. So it's really important to just kind of ask those questions. And it also lets the kids see what math looks like in everyday life and how you might apply it to actual situations outside of school. So it's not just numbers, but situational things with math. We also have a calendar. Our calendar is blank. There's one for July, one for August. We just ask that you initial and maybe write 1 or 2 words about the activity type that you did. And again, turn that in the same date, I believe that was September 17th, and to the school. And then when you get there, if you turn both things in, we actually are also going to try and have your child take a picture with Joe Paws, which is our mascot. And the kids love it when they take the picture and Joe Paws comes around and takes them out of the classroom. They feel really good about that. So that's a nice little incentive too that we're trying to put in there. So to help kids, want to do that over the summer. Do you want to go ahead and pick another door prize? Maybe?
Yes. And I was thinking with Jessica, we would need her child's name. I apologize.
It's Liam Bacon.
Oh, okay. Now I see your last name. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. I put it in there.
All right.
Picking 2 or just 1? Because we had 2 slide changes. Am I picking 2 or 1?
Go ahead, Miss Tucker.
Do 2.
All right.
That's what I thought.
Already done.
Right. Lindsay.
Yes. Right here. Do I see your name?
Lindsay, you want to get an educational game for your child?
Sure.
What grade and what is their name?
Lucas Bolio. He is in kindergarten.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Now, do you prefer a reading or math game?
You want reading or math? Math. Math, please.
All right.
Isn't that exciting?
All right.
Thank you so
Another
much.
name
Thank you so much.
is
Marcos Carreras?
Oh,
Or Johanna?
Yes, we're here.
you won a game. Are you Abby's parents?
Yes, we are.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Would she prefer a reading game or a math game?
A math game.
All right.
Excellent.
We'll send it home with them in the next day or two. Okay, are we ready to move on? Okay, so I just wanted to put in a little plug for the Bellingham Public Library program. They're up and running, and they're doing their, usual robust summer reading program. This year, it's got an animal theme. So I think the signups have already begun, and then as soon as school ends on the Monday following the last day of school, they will begin their activities. So I highly recommend checking the website and seeing what might be interesting for your child to get involved with. So just a little plug there. Okay, we're ready to move on. All right, and then another little plug promotion. I know many of you are familiar with Raz Kids. This was a online bookshelf with electronic books that we use pretty extensively during remote learning, because it allowed us to provide your child with books at their instructional level, and it gave a wide range of things, and it has a comprehension component, and it has a motivation with a little robot guy and little game that they could be involved in. And I just want to put out the word that Raz Kids will be fully accessible to your child all summer long. So please, if that works in your routine, I highly recommend, having your child use it the way it works for you and your family. If you have any questions about it or any problems, you can email me, and I'm sure we can provide you that somehow. My email. I will be accessible all summer to answer any questions or problems with your account. I also, in the packet that I showed with the sunshine on there, I will also remind on the back of the front sheet, there's a place with the login information. If people have forgotten how to log in, there's a little cheat sheet, the steps to log in, and I can jot down your child's sign-in information in case anyone's forgotten. So that will be in the back of the front page of the packet. And I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Tucker to talk about the math software that's available this summer.
Yeah, so part of the opportunities of this summer is your child use Dreambox with their classroom over the remote time and our hybrid learning time. That will also be accessible over the summer for your students. So if you have a computer or a Samsung tablet, you go to the specific link. So if you just go to dreambox.com, that's not going to get you to our school site. So it's the same link you've been using all year with your child, but it's the specific login here. And then they have a classroom code, unless they're in one of the third grade classrooms where we ended up doing a username and password. But usually they have a classroom code they enter, and then they pick their picture, and then they can log right in. If you're on an iPad or another type of tablet, you need to download the app and then enter our school code and our classroom code, and then the classroom code from there. So again, if you have any questions on that or how to log in, I'll also put my email in the chat, and you can feel free to email me or even your teacher through the end of the year, and we can get that information to you. And then all summer along, I'll be available. All right.
Can we pull a name?
Ma'am. All right, that's my dog in the background. Young.
Oh, spelled the name wrong.
Hi, did you say Young?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Yay! Hi, Mrs. Young. I know your student. Would she prefer a reading game or a math game?
We'll do reading, please.
Oh, yay! All right. Go for reading. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. All right, so the last part of our night here is I'm going to just give you 10 quick thoughts and suggestions about integrating some reading practice over the summer, and then Mrs. Tucker will do her same suggestion list. So I have 10 C's here, just some thoughts for you and some suggestions. Number one, consistency. It's just like exercise. If you do a little bit more frequently, you're going to get more payoff than if you do, a couple hours of reading every 3 weeks or so. I mean, little, especially with children, a small dose, but more consistent is definitely helpful for them. The second C, now that's something that we're all, I think, at least almost all of us have to struggle with in our families, and that's competing with screen time. I have a 4th grader and a 1st grader, and I find that it's not that they don't like reading. The issue is they like screens better. It's always the preferred thing. So, I'm sure we'll all have to do some thinking in the next couple of weeks of what, the guidance will be with screen time this summer. I know I definitely have to do some thinking there. So just kind of a reminder that, if you have some kind of routine where they do have some reading time or, non-screen time to do some learning built in, then it'll be hopefully less fights and a more, peaceful opportunity for them to do a little practice off the screens. And then thirdly, just opportunities, like I said, I've mentioned a few times, for example, just kind of being aware and looking for opportunities within the fun activities you're doing. For example, at a restaurant and you're waiting for your food, can they be looking through and kind of having some fun with the menu? Either math with the costs of the food, or with reading, like, hey, let's search, if you're in kindergarten, maybe let's find a P in this page, or, can you find any words or, oh, I see the, do you see another the, or, things like that. Or, at the beach, can you write words in the sand with a stick or with your toe? And just kind of being a little more aware of the opportunities that present themselves within fun activities. So not always just, you must sit down with a book and, you're going to read that book until you're done, but also looking for some opportunities to inject a little language and reading within the fun things that you're doing this summer. Number 4 is related, and it's kind of what I meant by demonstrating your reading and writing. So calling attention to them, to your children, when you are doing something that involves reading and writing that maybe they can either be involved with or just be more aware of, like, oh, we have to make our list for a market basket. Can you help me? And maybe, okay, you write the first letter of each food we need, and mommy will write the rest of the word. Or, how many things are we buying today? Oh, we better not buy more than that. Or maybe if we buy everything, we can get a treat. Or, whatever it is. But children, like everything else, they observe us constantly. And so if we can just bring their attention a little bit more specifically to how we're using reading and writing, and involve them if possible, or if not, just showing them or being an example for them, that is very powerful. Number 5, cuddling. So there's all this research that when children are being next to or held by an adult that they're reading with, it is so powerful, and it helps with their learning so much. Their brain is just like so lit up with how much input they're getting when they're both being cuddled or being even close to an adult in a comfortable way and engaging in reading. So I know as they get older, they're, your life is busier and they're not as interested, but if you can and you find those opportunities, I would say keep trying to have a few minutes of that cuddling time involving a book. Maybe you change it, you're taking turns with pages, maybe you're just reading to them, which is, another research finding is that reading to students, to kids, way longer than you think you need to, like into the middle school, is still very important and beneficial to their learning because it helps with vocabulary and fluency and comprehension. So even if they're fully reading, it's still good for their brain to hear you read to them. So don't feel like, oh, well, they're independent, they don't need to listen to me, or they're not, it still can be really beneficial for them. And also you could share the task if that works for your dynamic. Number 6, we always focus on comprehension. Always, 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 especially when you're trying to make it enjoyable. So, if they're getting stuck on a few words, or they're really struggling with a few words, I in my own role in school, I tell it to them. I don't belabor it a lot of times because my purpose is for them to enjoy it and to get the meaning out of it. So sometimes we work, depending what our objective is, but in a parent situation, I would say, if they're really struggling with a word and you've given them some hints or said to them, sound it out, and they still can't, I would just tell it to them, because then you're taking off that stress and making it more about what the story is about, and that will free up their brain power to just enjoy the story. If they're struggling with a lot of words, I would say, you know what, I'm just going to read it to you. That's okay. Tomorrow you try again, or maybe we'll go to the library and get an easier book. That's what I do here in school. If they're struggling in more than 5 out of 100 words, I just, today I'm going to, I think you're tired. I'm just going to take it over, because once it's more than about 5 to 10 out of 100 words that they really don't know or really struggling with, it's too hard, and they're not really getting the meaning of it, and they're not really able to read it fluently, so it's not very helpful to them. It's better to be reading something easier and definitely less stressful. Number 7, concepts of print. I just wanted to suggest, especially with kindergartners going into first, take a few minutes when you read something, say, hey, what's this mark? What's this dot here? Did you learn about that? And if they didn't, maybe you can tell them about a period, or, paying attention, seeing if they how about mommy reads and you point to the words? That's huge for them in entering first grade. Things like that. So they're looking at how print works and how, that it goes left to right, that there's spaces between the words, things like that, which sometimes we adults kind of take for granted, and we're so into you need to learn to sound out. But if they don't have a very strong foundation of understanding how print works, they're going to struggle even more with the letter sounds and blending. So just kind of being aware of if your child has any confusions with that, or just pointing out some things to them. You see those little things that look like almost like little tadpoles? Those are talking marks. That means somebody's talking. Just kind of throwing it out, sort of getting them more familiar with how print works, so that when they go to sound out the words, they already have an understanding of those concepts. Number 8, productive struggle. We could have a whole night about that, but basically, like I said, as parents, it's more about engaging them and enjoying it. So if it's too much struggle, I would just take it over or tell them. You might pick one word or 2 words that you're really going to have them, kind of push them on. And then the rest, you're just going to let it go, because you have to balance, how stressful it is. And at school, we always have to, work on the balance there, because we need to develop them, but we also don't want to get to the point where it's just so hard that they start to shut down. Number 9 is just some, I know a lot of kids, they like to put on plays, they like to do music videos, they like to perform for the family. So my suggestion is, print out the lyrics of their favorite song and let them read it, or put on closed caption, which I put as number 10, or, if they're doing like a karaoke type of thing, or if they could write a little play and do it for the family, or a little puppet show. That is a great way to inject some reading and writing in a fun way that they enjoy. So definitely just keep that in mind, the giving them the stage and having them take it from there and use their reading and writing to do that. So that's my last suggestion. And I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Tucker. But before I do, how about we pick a name?
Sounds good. Danielle L.
Hi, Mrs. Lambert.
First grade.
Math or reading, Mrs. Lambert?
Let's do math, please.
Okay, great.
Is it for your first grader?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, I think I got one in mind for him. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Thomas. So I did something similar with kind of 10 suggestions, and I used an M at the front of mine. I took Mrs. Thomas's C's, and I said, "Ooh, I could do that too." So my first suggestion is make connections to the real world. So we talked about that a little bit earlier with, doing things, grocery store, riding in cars, to money counting. So whether you're grocery shopping, even if you're just counting coins, we use money and dollar bills and coins a lot less these days between Venmo now and credit cards and things. So giving your child a time to touch and feel real coins, a time to identify them and use them to add and subtract is really important. Mobile math, so take it on the road wherever you're going. You don't have to be at home in order to do math. You can be on the road with the road signs you see down there at the bottom. That's really good for third grade, triple digit adding and subtracting, or going into, I mean, I have a lot of third graders here, but you could even just take the double digits and do that as well. Maximize the car time you have. A lot of times, so I have a first grader and an incoming second grader, incoming kindergarten. And sometimes what we'll do is sometimes play the alphabet game, but you can also play the number game. Find the 1 on the signs, find the 2, find the 3, and then we'll figure out, find the 10s, and we can go all the way up, or sometimes you go up and back. Materials that are unique. So you see some pictures there of seashells. You can collect seashells. My kids I have 2 boys. They love to dig in the dirt. How many bugs can you find? How many legs are on each bug? Identifying them. I love getting that science in there. Worms on a rainy day. Lots of things that you can do outside. We go to the beach a lot. How many periwinkles can you put into a container? Things like that. More time. So again, we talked about that elapsed time, how to tell time on that analog clock is really, really important. Many beach possibilities. We've talked about some of those. Multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So multiplication, you might think, well, that's third grade, but really it starts with that skip counting by 10, skip counting by 2s, forwards and backwards, being able to put things into groups, thinking about what we call arrays. So seeing things in columns and rows. All of that supports multiplicative thinking. So even if you have a kindergartner or first grader, you can still do those types of activities and support all that thinking for when they get up to the third grade. Measure, measure, measure. So come up with some projects to do, get out the measuring tape, have kids practice looking at what is a ½ inch? What does that mean? What is a full inch? What is a centimeter versus an inch? All those kinds of things. And then math books. So connecting it back to Mrs. Thomas, you can also read about math. There are lots of fun math books out there. So going into the library, and you can get reading done and math done at the same time with one activity. So that's kind of fun. And then Mrs. Thomas, you made me think about something with my own kids with the writing. They love those Who Would Win books. And so we actually did experiments with our Hot Wheels, and we have a Hot Wheels track, and they would, put 2 of them together, and they had this whole who would win and went through it. So there's lots of different ways to connect things and make it fun. And they made their own Who Would Win book. So it's kind of cool. All right.
Okay, how about 3 winners to wrap it up?
3? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's see. Sue Simpson?
Yay. Danielle she's in second, going into third, and I'd say, is it math or reading games?
Yep.
We'll do reading.
Yay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Samuel Kamani.
Yay, Mr. Kamani. Mr. or Mrs. Kamani, are you there? Oh. Okay.
Catch up with him. Maybe.
Step delay. Yeah, we'll catch up with them. We know them.
Okay, and let's see. Danielle Lambert.
She already won.
Oh, jeez. Uh-oh. That's bad. Hang on. Josie Franco.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Would Bella like a reading or a math game?
Reading is fine.
Yay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Miss Tucker, any last thoughts?
Nope, just we hope you found this informative, and look for those packets coming home, and we hope that you have a enjoyable and engaging summer with your kiddos, and thank you for a wonderful year. It's a hard year, so we appreciate all your support at home.
Tucker and Mrs. Thomas, when are we sending those packets home? So we are be on the lookout for it.
We are waiting on the copy center, so I don't want to say for sure, but I was hoping Monday.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful evening and an even better summer.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Woohoo!
Hey.
Mrs. Friedman, do you want to stop the recording now?
Yes, thank you.